It's 2 a.m., your calf locks, not aches, locks. A hard, involuntary knot that takes your breath away. You sit up in the dark, you grab your leg with both hands, you flex your foot toward your shin and hold it there, you breathe through your teeth, you wait. 90 seconds that feel like 10 minutes, and then it releases, slowly, and you lie back down, and you stare at the ceiling, heart still pounding, wondering when it's going to happen again. You told your doctor about it. They said, drink more water, maybe try a banana before bed. And then they moved on to the next item on their checklist. 3 nights later, it happened again. I'm Dr. Amelia Carter, and I need to tell you something that your doctor almost certainly did not have time to explain. In adults over 60, nighttime leg cramps are almost never a hydration problem. They are a mineral signaling problem. And in a significant number of the patients I see, people exactly like you, they are a direct side effect of a medication sitting on the nightstand less than 3 feet from where you were just lying. Not your age, your prescription. I'm going to tell you exactly which medications are responsible, but I'm not going to name them right now. Because if I do, and yours is on that list, some of you will stop taking it tonight, without talking to your doctor first. And that would be far more dangerous than the cramps. So stay with me. I want to tell you about Raymond. Raymond is 71 years old, retired school teacher, loved by every student he ever had. He came to see me not because he thought something was seriously wrong. He came because he hadn't slept a full night in 2 years. Every second or third night, sometimes more, the cramps came. Always the same calf, always the same hour, always the same helpless wait for it to release. His previous doctor had told him to drink more water. His pharmacist had suggested bananas. He was drinking more water. He was eating the bananas. The cramps continued. When Raymond sat across from me, he said, I'm starting to think this is just what getting older feels like. I told him, Raymond, it isn't. By the time this video ends, you are going to understand exactly what is happening inside your leg muscle at 2 a.m. and why. You are going to know which medications most commonly cause or worsen this, and more importantly, how to have a conversation with your prescriber that adds the missing piece without removing anything necessary. You are going to walk into your next appointment with a specific question, a specific lab request, and the exact language to use. Your doctor has 12 minutes. This video gives you what 12 minutes cannot. I am not going to tell you hydration doesn't matter. It does. But what is happening inside your calf muscle at 2 a.m. is not a water shortage. It's a signaling failure. And you cannot fix a broken signal by adding more water to a system that already has what it needs to make you urinate, but not what it needs to make your muscle relax. I'll show you exactly what I mean in a moment. Right now, watching this video, there are 3 types of people. The first type gets cramps and has been told it's aging. You've accepted it. This video is going to change what you accept. The second type gets cramps and is also on a water pill, a statin, or a blood pressure medication. What I'm about to show you was made specifically for you. Please stay for all of it. The third type doesn't have cramps, but does have unexplained muscle weakness, persistent fatigue, or a heartbeat that sometimes feels irregular. Stay anyway. The same deficiency that causes cramps causes those too. And by the end of this, you will understand why your body has been signaling the same shortage through different symptoms. Let me show you what is actually happening inside your calf at 2 a.m. Because once you see this mechanism, the rest of this video is going to make complete sense. Every muscle contraction in your body, including that involuntary knot in your calf, depends on a precise ratio of 3 minerals working in concert inside the muscle cell: magnesium, potassium, calcium. Here's what each one does. Calcium is the accelerator. It fires the contraction. When calcium enters the muscle cell, the muscle contracts. This is normal. This is what is supposed to happen. Potassium regulates the timing. It helps manage the electrical charge across the cell membrane that tells the muscle when to fire and when to stop. And magnesium is the brake. Magnesium is the signal that tells the muscle to release after a contraction. It is what allows your calf to fire and then let go. Without enough magnesium in the cell, the calcium fires the contraction, and the release signal never arrives. The muscle keeps contracting. The engine keeps running. The brake pedal isn't there. That is what a cramp is. Not a mystery. Not aging. A missing brake pedal. Now here's what makes night the most dangerous time for this to happen. 4 things converge between midnight and 3 a.m. that don't happen at any other point in the day. First, magnesium hits its lowest circadian level in the body during the early hours of the morning. This is not random, it is a documented physiological trough. Whatever deficit you have accumulated during the day reaches its lowest point exactly when you are lying in the dark with no way to act on it. Second, nighttime dehydration concentrates the electrolyte imbalance that already exists. Whatever shortage is present during the day becomes more acute when you are 8 hours without fluids. Third, lying flat reduces blood flow to the extremities. Your calf, which is the farthest muscle from your heart, receives less circulation during sleep than at any other point in the day. Less circulation means slower mineral delivery to the cells that need it. And fourth, when you're at rest, the low-grade constant movement of walking and shifting weight, which keeps the mineral distribution inside your calf somewhat balanced, stops completely. Your calf is now static, undersupplied, and at the bottom of the magnesium trough. That is why it is always 2 a.m. That is why it is always the calf. The soleus muscle, the deep calf muscle that sits beneath the gastrocnemius, is one of the most metabolically active muscles in the entire body. It works against gravity every single hour you are upright. It contracts thousands of times per day without your awareness or your permission. By the time you get into bed, your soleus has burned through more minerals than almost any other muscle in your body. It is the last stop on the longest route. If anything goes wrong in the mineral supply chain, if the delivery system is compromised for any reason, the calf is where you feel it first. Now here's the part your doctor didn't have time to explain. The thing depleting your magnesium and potassium every single day may not be your diet. It may be your prescription. What I'm about to show you is documented. It is published. It is acknowledged by the companies that manufacture these medications. And yet almost nobody has connected these dots for you in plain language. That is exactly what this channel exists to do. There are 4 categories of medications that directly deplete the minerals your muscles need to relax at night. I'm going to walk you through each one. I want you to think, as I do, about what is on your nightstand. The first category is loop diuretics. You may know this medication as Lasix or by its generic name, furosemide. If your doctor prescribed it, they most likely told you it helps your body get rid of excess fluid. That is correct. What they may not have explained is the mechanism by which it does that. Loop diuretics work by blocking the reabsorption of sodium in the kidneys, and because sodium travels with a convoy of other minerals in the renal tubule, when you block that reabsorption, you lose more than just sodium. Every time you urinate from this medication, and you know how frequently that is, you are flushing out magnesium, potassium, and calcium alongside it. Every dose, every day. This is not a side effect they hide in small print. It is literally the mechanism of the drug. But the conversation about replacing what is lost, that almost never happens in a 15-minute appointment. The second category is thiazide diuretics. Hydrochlorothiazide and chlorthalidone are the most common. You may be taking one of these for blood pressure and not even think of it as a water pill. But its mechanism is the same family. It tells your kidneys to excrete more fluid. And with that fluid goes magnesium, goes potassium. If you take a blood pressure medication and you have nighttime leg cramps, I want you to hear this clearly. That is not a coincidence. It is a known, documented, pharmacological consequence of how your medication works. It has a name. It has a mechanism. And today, you are going to understand it for the first time. The third category is statins. And I want to be careful here because statins save lives, and I am not telling you to stop taking yours. But I am telling you something that the pharmaceutical literature acknowledges, that many physicians know, and that almost no patient has ever been told clearly. Statins work by inhibiting a pathway called the mevalonate pathway. That pathway produces cholesterol, which is why statins are so effective at lowering LDL. But that same pathway also produces a molecule called coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is not optional. Your muscle cells use it to produce energy at the mitochondrial level. Without adequate CoQ10, muscle cells cannot fully recover between contractions. They remain in a state of partial chronic fatigue, and they become dramatically more prone to cramping. Statin-related muscle symptoms are medically classified as myalgia. Cramps are a subset of that category. This is not a theory. It is in the published prescribing information. Most patients are never told. The fourth category may surprise you. Proton pump inhibitors, omeprazole, pantoprazole, the medications taken for acid reflux and stomach protection, create the same mineral shortage as a diuretic but by a completely different route. Here is how. Magnesium is absorbed from food in the small intestine. That absorption process depends on stomach acid to prepare the magnesium for uptake. When a proton pump inhibitor suppresses acid production over months and years, which is what long-term use does, the magnesium in your food passes through your gut increasingly unabsorbed. You are eating the right foods. The magnesium is technically there, but the door that lets it into your body has been quietly closed by your reflux medication. Now I want you to sit with this for a moment. You may be on a diuretic for your heart, a statin for your cholesterol, a PPI for your stomach. 3 medications, 3 completely different conditions, 3 completely different prescribing doctors, all reducing the same minerals your muscles need to function at night. And no one looked at the 3 of them together as a system because no one had time. I need to say this directly, and I need you to hear it. Do not stop your diuretic. Do not stop your statin. Do not stop your PPI. Not because of what I've just told you. These medications are often keeping something serious from happening, and stopping them abruptly without medical supervision can be genuinely dangerous. What I want you to do is have a different conversation with your prescriber, not one that removes something, one that adds the missing piece. I am going to give you the exact language for that conversation before this video ends. How many of those 4 medications are you currently taking? Put the number in the comments. Just the number. I'm not asking for your medical history. I want to show you something about how common this overlap actually is among people watching this channel. Before I give you what the research actually supports, I want to address something you may have already tried or been recommended. Quinine. Quinine, which occurs naturally in tonic water, was historically prescribed for leg cramps in clinical practice. For decades, some physicians recommended a glass of tonic water before bed as a simple remedy. In 1995, the FDA formally withdrew approval of quinine for the treatment of leg cramps. The reason was not that it was ineffective. The reason was the side effect profile. At therapeutic doses, quinine can cause cardiac arrhythmia, a dangerous drop in platelet count called thrombocytopenia, and severe hypersensitivity reactions. The risks outweighed any benefit for a non-life-threatening condition. Tonic water sold in supermarkets contains quinine, but at doses so low they are unlikely to have any meaningful effect on cramps and still high enough to cause problems in patients with certain sensitivities or cardiac conditions. If your doctor is still recommending tonic water, that recommendation is 30 years out of date. You now know more about this than the recommendation you were given. I'll give you the exact protocol in a moment. But first, I want to show you one more thing that most people, and many doctors, get wrong about the timing of when to take these minerals. Because the right mineral at the wrong time is almost useless. Here is the mistake I see most often, and it is completely understandable because nobody explained it. People hear that magnesium might help with cramps. They go to the pharmacy. They buy a bottle. They take it every morning with breakfast, and then 3 weeks later, they say it didn't work. It didn't work because the timing was wrong. Think about it this way. The cramp happens at 2 a.m. because that is when your body hits its magnesium trough. Taking magnesium at 8 a.m. means that by the time 2 a.m. arrives, the magnesium you took has already been metabolized, distributed, and largely cleared. You filled the tank in the morning and expected the fuel to still be there 16 hours later. Minerals need to be at their peak inside your cells during the window when they're most needed. That means evening. That means within 90 minutes of when you go to bed, not morning. 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate, taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Not with dinner, before bed. Let me tell you why those specific forms matter. Magnesium oxide is the cheapest form on pharmacy shelves. It is also among the least bioavailable. Studies suggest as little as 4% of it is actually absorbed. You are buying the illusion of supplementation. The glycinate form binds magnesium to an amino acid called glycine that facilitates absorption and also has a mild calming effect on the nervous system. The malate form binds it to malic acid and is particularly well tolerated in people with digestive sensitivity. Either of these two forms will serve you far better than oxide. If you take magnesium citrate, be aware that in larger doses it has a laxative effect. Some people tolerate it well, others do not. Start with glycinate if you are uncertain. I am not going to recommend a potassium supplement. And I want to explain why, because it is important. Over-the-counter potassium supplements are limited to 99 milligrams by FDA regulation for a reason. Potassium at high doses, particularly in seniors and particularly in anyone with compromised kidney function, that can cause cardiac arrhythmia. Your kidneys are the mechanism that regulates potassium balance. If they are not working at full capacity, supplemental potassium can accumulate to dangerous levels faster than you would expect. What I recommend instead is food-based potassium, because food delivers this mineral in a form your body already knows how to regulate. Half an avocado, a handful of pumpkin seeds, a cup of plain full-fat yogurt, a serving of cooked white beans. These are not exotic foods. They are practical, they are accessible, and they deliver potassium in a matrix your kidneys can manage. I told you that water alone is not the answer. Here is what actually helps with the hydration side of this equation. Plain water does not replace minerals. A glass of plain water before bed gives your bladder something to do at 3 a.m., but does not address the electrolyte balance in your muscle cells. What does help is electrolyte-rich hydration in the evening, a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon in 8 ounces of water. That is it. That combination replaces trace minerals and supports cell membrane function in a way that plain water simply cannot. There is one physical intervention that, combined with the mineral protocol, meaningfully changes the environment your calf wakes up in at 2 a.m. Before you get into bed tonight, sit on the edge of the mattress, both feet flat on the floor. Now, flex your right foot. Pull your toes up toward your shin as far as they will comfortably go. Hold that for 30 seconds. You should feel a gentle stretch through the calf and up the back of the lower leg. Then switch to the left foot. 30 seconds. What this does is activate the soleus at full length right before your longest period of inactivity. It allows whatever minerals are in circulation to distribute more evenly through the muscle tissue before it goes static for 8 hours. This is not a cure, but combined with the magnesium timing, it changes the chemistry your calf starts the night with. Before you start any supplement protocol, I want you to have a baseline. These are the specific labs to request at your next appointment. Let me bring this back to where we started. Raymond. After our first appointment, Raymond went home with 3 things: a specific lab request, an evening magnesium protocol, and a question to bring back to his prescribing physician about the diuretic he had been on for 4 years. His doctor ran the RBC magnesium. It came back below the reference range, significantly below, despite 3 prior serum magnesium results that had all read normal. Raymond had been deficient for an unknown period of time, and every standard test had missed it. His statin CoQ10 level was low as well. His prescriber added 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate to Raymond's evening regimen and began monitoring his potassium more closely given the diuretic. Raymond's cardiologist added CoQ10 alongside the statin. 3 weeks later, Raymond called my office. Cramps had dropped from 4 or 5 nights a week to 1. 6 weeks later, nearly gone. He said to me, 2 minutes of asking the right question solved what 2 years of bananas and water couldn't. Raymond is not exceptional. Raymond is what happens when someone walks into a medical appointment prepared, when they know what to ask for, when they understand enough about their own body to have a different kind of conversation. That is what I want for you. Write this down, or rewind this part of the video. These are the exact words to use at your next appointment. I've been having severe nighttime leg cramps for X months or years. I'm currently on name your diuretic statin, PPI. I've learned that these medications can deplete magnesium and potassium. Can we run an RBC magnesium and serum potassium and discuss whether a magnesium glycinate supplement in the evening would be appropriate alongside my current prescriptions? This is what this channel does. Your doctor gets the appointment, you get the preparation. And when you walk into that room knowing what to ask, knowing what to request by name, knowing how to describe what you've been experiencing in clinical terms, everything changes. You are no longer a passive patient. You are a participant in your own care. If this video gave you something you didn't have before, subscribe. It's free. And what we do here, every single time, is give you the 60 minutes your doctor cannot. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Have you ever been told to drink more water for something that turned out to be something else entirely? Something that had a real name, a real mechanism, a real answer that just nobody got around to explaining? Tell me in the comments. I read every one of them. And I can tell you from experience, someone watching this video tonight is going through exactly what you went through. And your story might be the thing that finally makes it click for them. I'm Dr. Amelia Carter. Take care of your body. It is trying to tell you something. And now you know how to listen.